This is a special edition of Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And welcome to Nevada Newsmakers today. There's a quote from Chuck Hagel that says, anyone who's not in detox is rumored to be a candidate. That could apply to the governor's race in 2006. When we come back, we'll talk to State Senator Dina Titus, who's declared her candidacy. We'll be right back.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
High-tech companies demand perfect world amenities. They require clean, reliable power, state-of-the-art fiber optic communications, and clean water sources. In a perfect world, companies would have immediate access to rail and interstate freeways. There would be 4-lane expressways that shorten shipping times and provide convenient commute routes for valued employees. Well, the future is now, and it's here. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
Nevada Newsmakers is sponsored in part by the Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seem to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? They do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we begin our interview with State Senator Dina Titus, who yesterday and today has been declaring that she's officially in the race for governor of the state of Nevada.
Senator, during the legislative campaign, there seemed to be some underlying level of contempt between your faction and that of Richard Perkins, the Assembly Speaker. You're both running for governor. Because that started so early, do you think that your campaign against Mr. Perkins for governor could turn into a real smackdown, mudslinging kind of campaign?
Well, no, absolutely not. In fact, right now, I'm the only declared candidate on the Democratic side, and I'm the front runner on the Democratic side. So I'm not worrying about who else is getting in the race. I'm just going forward. We had a great day yesterday announcing in Douglas County. We've got some important issues to talk about. That's what my race is going to focus on. Grassroots, door knocking, listening to Nevadans to see what the problems are, and sharing in what their dreams are.
Well, now, you've been in the state Senate for a long time. Don't you already know what the problems are?
I know what some of the things are that need to be done, but I think that government needs to get back to basics. It's kind of like education getting back to basics. And one of the basic things is getting out all over the state, every corner of the state. And part of it has kind of been ignored for the last decade. So I want to hear some specifics because, you know, government governs best where it's closest to the people, and that's who knows best how things will work.
Well, don't you think that Jim Gibbons has been very close to rural Nevada over those past years?
Well, I think he's been in Washington most of those years.
Senator, if you're elected governor and if our economy keeps moving as it is, would you consider a tax cut?
I don't see any need for taxes right now. You know, you're asking me to speculate about a hypothetical. I'd rather talk about what's going on right now. The economy is good. Nevada's moving forward. We need to figure out how to become a real economic powerhouse, but also hold on to the things that we hold dear here in Nevada.
What about this Taxpayers' Bill of Rights? It looks like that's coming down the pike. Will you support that?
I don't support that. I think that's a Colorado solution for Nevada, and it's a Colorado solution that's not working. And let me ask you this. If you ran a business, would you develop a business plan that locks in without a vote of your customers that you couldn't change? I don't think that's a good way to do business. It's not a good way to run government.
We spoke to an economics professor from the University of Colorado on this which will air later on this week on this program, and he said the only real problem that they had with Tabor in Colorado was that they didn't have a rainy day fund. And Carol Villardo on this program suggested if we had 10% of the state budget in a rainy day fund, that she also would support a Tabor amendment.
Well, you're going to find people who support that, I'm sure, and I think that's fine. I think a better way to look at the state policy is to be flexible. When times are good, you can invest in the state, invest in education, give money back as a rebate, just like we did last session. When times are not so good, you tighten your belt, you eliminate things that you don't need, and you find a way to be more efficient and more effective. But you don't put something in place that's inflexible and doesn't allow you to respond, and that you can't change without another election.
Senator, some of the most powerful females in the Democratic Party, talking Barbara Buckley, Frankie Sudell Papa, Sheila Leslie, are all siding with Richard Perkins in this gubernatorial race. Why isn't there more of a solidarity among the Democratic women?
Well, I haven't heard any endorsements official from anybody, much less from those women. I work well with those women. But, you know, this race is not about gender. This race is about issues. This race is about what I bring to the table. It's about my being a fighter for Nevada. Straight talk, tell it like it is. You know what you get with me, Ray. We've had conversations many times. And so that's what this is about. This isn't about male, female.
That's the one thing that you told me last week, that you are not running to become the first woman governor of Nevada. Could you explain that to our listeners and viewers?
Well, I will certainly be proud to be the first woman governor. That will be a historic thing, and I don't run away from that. On the other hand, I'm not running a women's race. Women turn out to vote at higher rates than men do, and I hope they'll vote for me, and I think they will when they hear my message. And that message is basically government should do what it does best. Lock up the bad guys, educate the children, provide for the common good, and then get out of the way and let people make their own decisions.
Hang on, you sound like a Republican.
No, just don't forget the rhetoric and look at the record.
Well, that's one thing, Senator. People say that you're a liberal. And then we ask them, well, what has she done to get a liberal tag? And what have you done to, if you're a professor from UNLV and a Democrat, does that automatically make you a liberal?
Well, that's why I say don't listen to the rhetoric, look at the record. You know, if you compared my record to Bill Raggio's record, I bet you'll find we voted the same way 90% of the time. And Bill Raggio is like Mr. Conservative. I proposed the property tax freeze. Is that liberal or conservative? Labels are not what's important. It's the issues that's important.
Okay, let's take a break. Much more with Dina Titus running for governor right after this timeout.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community. But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
Many of the materials we rely on every day come from the ground, and modern mining technology brings them to us cleaner and safer than ever before. To learn more about America's natural resources, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Pepper Mill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Pepper Mill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you dining?
Your best value in sight is here for you to see. From frames to lenses to eye exams, you're covered A to Z. Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Davis Optical Centers, with 2 locations in Reno and Sparks.
Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, if I can get the words out here, we're here with State Senator Dina Titus, who's running for governor in 06, finally declared officially. Okay, money, going to be a big issue here. We're hearing anywhere from $8 to $10 million is going to be necessary in this race. Are you going to be able to get that kind of money? Is gaming going to support you?
Well, statewide races are always expensive, and they're getting more expensive. My feeling is however much it takes, we'll raise it. And I'm not afraid to raise money. And I've always had a double-wide Senate district. I've never had a pass. I've always had to raise money. And as the head of the caucus, I've raised money for the caucus to elect in all our races. So sure, it'll be hard work, but yes, I'll raise the money. And yes, gaming will support me. They've supported me in the past. I don't see any reason why they won't support me now. We have to protect gaming. I've been a friend of gaming without being seen as being in gaming's pocket. You know, I think you give gaming what it needs, but that's not necessarily what it wants.
Well, Senator, the last Democrat to run for governor, Senator Joe Neal, wanted to jack up the gaming win tax.
Yeah.
Now, would you go for that, too, if you were elected governor?
Well, right now, Nevada doesn't need any more revenue because we had so much last time. We were able to give a rebate in addition to investing in a lot of needed programs. So I don't think we need, again, to speculate about whether you need a tax of any kind, gaming or otherwise.
Okay. You addressed this on the program the last time we talked when we were down at the legislature about your relationship with Washoe County and fair share. That's a long time ago.
Right.
But in about 36 months ago, Joe Carter was running against Maurice Washington, and he was significantly ahead of him. And then they put on these campaign ads that said that you would be the Senate Majority Leader if they elected Joe Carter, and suddenly the numbers completely reversed. How are you going to be able to stabilize Washoe County?
I'm going to sit down with people here, knock on their doors, look them in the eye and say, look at the record. When I was first elected back in 1989, I was fighting for my district, District 7, and I was fighting as hard as I could to protect their interests. And I'm going to fight just that hard for every member of Nevada when I am governor, and that's the message that I'm taking to the folks. And, you know, we're going to need a fighter this next time. We need a fighter against Washington on Yucca Mountain. We need a fighter against Congress to get our fair share of dollars. We need a fighter against other western states for water. And I think the people in every part of Nevada will say, yeah, that's the kind of person I want to be governor, somebody who's willing to go to the mat for all of Nevada.
Senator.
I like the sound of that.
Excuse me, Freud.
Do you think Las Vegas Mayor Oscar Goodman is going to get in this race? He's kind of flirted with it, but he's never come out and said yes or no.
I don't know. You'll have to ask Oscar. He's always saying he's the happiest mayor in the world. I say let him stay there as the happiest mayor in the world.
Let me read to you something that somebody sent to me a couple of months ago and just get your thoughts on this. He said that the gaming candidate will be the Democratic candidate for governor and the chamber candidate will be the Republican candidate for governor, with organized labor pressing a Democratic initiative on minimum wage, likely to be fought by the chamber type spending big money, and anti-tax grassroots Republican libertarians pressing a Republican initiative on tax or spending limitations, or both, and likely to be fought by labor education type spending big money. It's an election cycle that could shake the foundations of the state's politics unlike anything since the Sawyer O'Callahan elections.
Well, I think it's going to be a lively election, and the more people who are in it, the better, because that's good for Nevadans. They get to hear all sides of the issue, and they get to hear some real debate. We haven't had a lot of real debate in this state for a while, so I think that's good. I think that they want an election, and the voters will be the ones to decide. There will also be some ballot questions this time that I think will bring people out, because they'll be interesting, whether it is minimum wage and marijuana may come back. Who knows what will be on the ballot, but that always draws attention. So I'm ready just to be part of that mix. And I think to say that the chamber is opposed to gaming is just too simple. Gaming are members of the chamber. And maybe that's a mistake. They've pitted one another in the battle, against each other. Maybe we all need to come to the table and talk about what's good for the future, not be these labels or not be these struggles. I don't think state government should be a struggle between the rich and the poor, or the north and the south, or the urban and the rural, or the chamber and the gaming. We're one Nevada. Every Nevadan matters. We all ought to be working together to move this state forward.
And I should point out that that's the Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce that we were referring to.
Senator, you're talking about the future. In the future, if the economy is still running hot, would you consider a tax cut?
Well, Ray, you keep asking me to speculate about things. I can't speculate. But who would have ever dreamed that we would have had as much money this time, because the economy would have rebounded?
George Harris, there were a lot of people out
Well, there weren't a lot of people, but Bob Beers throws numbers around. He can calculate, so you can make statistics tell you whatever you want. But the economic advisors of the state did not anticipate that the economy would have rebounded as quickly as it did. That was great, and we were able to give a rebate. If we have money again, you look at all things on the table, including another rebate. So that's my position, and I don't see anybody talking about the need for taxes. And all the time I've been in the legislature, from 91 to 2003, you didn't have to raise any taxes. So,
you were in favor of this ring around the valley for Las Vegas to contain growth. Now you've got just incredible growth in the north and the southern portions of the state. How do you look at that today?
Well, the ring around the valley was about managing growth, not containing growth. And I still believe in smart growth. I think that's very important. You don't let the tail wag the dog. You get ahead of growth. You don't let it pull you along in directions that you might not think will work for the best. I think growth is the issue that ties this whole state together. Look at the growth in Douglas County with people moving from California. Washoe County, Fernley is growing. Everybody knows about growth in Las Vegas, but it's all over the state. And then the flip side of the coin is the small towns that are losing people. What's the impact of that? So I think you've got to get ahead of that and have the state perhaps play a bigger role in the whole concept of planning. And you tie to that water, and then it becomes a very, very important issue.
And an issue for another day on this program. You bring up the biggest things right at the end there. We're out of time, but you are welcome to come back anytime. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers. Good luck in the race.
Thank you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
I've heard some good things about them.
You bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're joined by Bob Crowell from the Crowell Group and John Gwaltney with the State School Board. Welcome to both of you. Okay, let's talk about Dina Titus's race.
Boy.
Oh.
What do you want to know about Dina Titus's race?
Well, First of all, I find it interesting, whenever a politician says, I'm going to go out and talk to the voters and find out what they're thinking, when they've been in office for many, many years in a position of power in the state, shouldn't they already know what the voters are thinking?
Well, probably, there's some truth to that, but on the other side of that, I think that most voters want people to come out and hear what they have to say, and that's just good, responsible government, going out and talking and listening to what people say. I mean, politicians don't have all the answers, and people know they don't have all the answers, so you want to go listen to them. You want to go listen to what the people say.
Well, we want to see them, we want to touch them, we want to know that they're people just like we are. So I think basically she's approaching this appropriately. I'd like to say that I think this lady is a very charming person in a lot of ways, and in the last session, I think she was the Democrat force in that building. So I think she knows an awful lot about what the people of Nevada want at this point. It may be more symbolic to go out and touch the flesh than it is in reality. This lady has a very strong contact. I've been a registered Republican for years, but I have a deep respect for her.
So John, you're saying that she maybe outwitted Speaker Perkins through the subliminal campaign that went on through the legislature?
That's a fairly strong phrase, outwitted. I think Perkins seemed to disappear late in the session. I don't know whether the workload or the overwhelming nature of the session got next to him, but for the most part, I thought Dina was there. She knew her numbers. She had listened to the people. She had a very strong grasp of the issues that were going into the closing days, and she was a force in the legislative session. Perkins seemed to be overwhelmed to a degree by all of what was going on. That's just one person's opinion, but maybe I think it's more than one.
Well, Bob, what's your opinion on that?
Well, I didn't get that sense. I think that the Democrats, my own take is the Democrats came out of the legislative session pretty high. I mean, I don't think there were any losers in this last Republicans or Democrats. And so I didn't see, there was some tension going on between Dina Titus and Richard Perkins. Obviously there was some tension going on, but I didn't see that rise to the level of one being able to take advantage of the other, or that there was any harm to either the political agenda of either party as a result of that. I just didn't see that. So.
You say that the Democrats came out high, but when you look at what Perkins backed, things didn't go anywhere. You're talking about the lottery for education. You're talking about a sales tax holiday. You're talking about even leaving, putting federal money for education off the table so you can get out of No Child Left Behind. He proposed all those things, and none of them went anywhere.
Well, it's true. You can look at the glasses being half full and do that, but on the other side you walk out of this legislative session had property tax relief for folks. It had a rebate, and a lot of that was driven. The ideas behind that and the mechanics behind that, a lot of that was driven by the Democrats. And you can talk about what bills were presented and what bills and didn't get done, but at the end of the day, a lot of the big bills had a lot of the imprints of the Democrats.
Wait a minute, the rebate, as I recall, the Democrats didn't want to give that money back. They wanted to go into education. The rebate idea was the governor's.
Well, the rebate idea was, there's no doubt that the rebate idea came out of from the governor. But at the end of the day, on the mechanics of how the rebate was given back, had the imprint of a lot of people on it, including the Democrats, including the Assembly Democrats.
Okay, let's take a slight turn here. Jim Rogers is, I think pretty much everybody knows, is the owner of Sunbelt Broadcasting that owns the stations that this program is broadcast upon. He's also the University Chancellor. And last week in an interview on Las Vegas One, according to an article from Kirsten Sierra out of the Las Vegas Sun, in reference to Jim Gibbons and his run for governor, he says, I think, and maybe I'm being harsh, but I don't think he's very bright. I don't think he's got very many great leadership qualities. I don't think he can handle the job of governor. What does this say to all the people who time after time after time have voted Jim Gibbons back into office in the Congress?
I think that's an exact statement of why you don't want to make that statement.
Yeah, I would certainly support that. I think, the first thing that popped in my mind when I read the quote is that, does a Hugo car have a right to say to a Mercedes, your quality isn't up to shape? I think Rogers' credentials are a long ways from being in a position to make this kind of judgment about a man who's been in the Congress, holds a law degree, and has also been very successful in his own right as a commercial pilot.
And fought in the Vietnam War, the Gulf War?
Absolutely. And now, I think, I said before we went on the air that I think a number of people in his campaign organization have figured out he is not a stand-up comedian, and he probably ought to leave that issue alone. But this man has excellent credentials, and I'm not sure Rogers' credentials are nearly as long. I worked for the university system, let's make that clear. But
now, John, Jim Rogers, he's been floated as a possible candidate for governor. Maybe that had something to do with those comments. Do you think that he is of gubernatorial quality?
Well, I think at this particular point it's difficult to say, Ray. I think the issue is that his track record is very, very short. His experience with the region suggests that I really don't want to be chancellor up until the point that I wanted to be chancellor. I think that strategy looks an awful lot like Kenny Gwynn's glide path into the governorship. A number of those things I find questionable, to say the least. I'm not the only one who's looked at it and said maybe he should have developed his own plan to be governor of the state.
Okay, let's let Bob have the last word here.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. Those statements reflect back on what you believe the voters have said about people when you elect them, and I don't think you want to do that. And second, when you ask whether or not Mr. Rogers has got the gubernatorial qualities, I don't sitting here, I don't know enough about what he has on his agenda to make that judgment call. And second, I think that the lineup on both sides is not for governor has not closed out yet. Has not closed out.
And that's where we got to leave it. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, water resources come from fresh, clean groundwater, approved by state permits. The water is pumped from wells to million-gallon storage tanks and then distributed to TRI companies. Another amenity is our investment in a state-of-the-art wastewater treatment plant. This disposal system converts waste to clean water for industrial applications. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevada.
South Reno's hotspot for food, fun, and friends is the Tamarack Junction. Enjoy great food 24 hours a day in the Dining Car Restaurant. For a quick bite and the best sandwiches in town, it's the Whistle Stop Deli. And for the best appetizers and menu selections and a large variety of cocktails, beers, and martinis, it's Sully's Sports Bar, Grill, and Nightclub. The Tamarack Junction is your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community. But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
Watch Nevada Newsmakers online at nevadanewsmakers.com. See ya.
See ya.